Okay, so after having heard Dr. Gaurav about which machine to buy, let's go back into the basics and see what are the new generation formulas and what is their effectiveness. Now, no topic on IOL formulas can go ahead without remembering this man, Dr. Fedorov, who at that time, way back in the 1960s, came up with the Virgin's formulas, which are even used today. And the primary goal, and probably even the weakness, has been the accurate, effective lens position estimation for getting better and better at prediction of errors. So the routine standard IOL formula that we use now are the third, fourth generation, and newer formulas keep coming. Initially, we had the Hoffer Q for short eyes, SRKT for normal eyes, Holiday 1 for long eyes, and the newer generation formulas wherein we can try and get one-step solution for all eyes using more variables. And so depending upon the variables that are being used, these formulae can be divided into the various options that we have. Virgin's formulas basically use the corneal power in two ways. Corneal power is directly used in the Virgin's calculation to predict the post-operative refraction and also the prediction of the ELP. That is the depth of the IOL relative to the cornea. And in the earlier formulas, it was assumed that it would be 4.5 millimeters for all eyes. And this is where the mistake was. And that's why came the third generation IOLs formulas, wherein three variables were used. And in this case, the formulas got better and accuracies got better. But in these formulas, it was assumed that short eyes with flat case had shallow ELPs and longer eyes with steeper case had deeper ELPs. But it was Jack Holliday during his method of finding new, going from Holiday 1 to Holiday 2, found that people, about 80% of people with short axial lens had anterior segment size which was normal. And even the longer axial length people had 90% of people had an anterior segment which was of a normal size. And this was where probably the error was coming in. And that's why he came out with a formula which had 7 variables, which the 2 extra variables were pre-op refraction and patient stage. And so formulas have come in to try and incorporate a wider range of axial lens to be able to get one-step formula for all axial lens and keratometries. But it was found in an analysis of more than 13,000 surgeries that all formulas, including the third generation formulas, had a prediction error of within 0.1 diopters when the axial length was between 23 and 25. And Hoffer, in a study of about 300 eyes, found that the Holiday 2 was more accurate than Holiday 1, equal to Hoffer Q in shorter eyes less than 22, but in other axial length categories, it was not so accurate. So this brings to question whether the additional effort of obtaining the added parameters, going to more and more variables, whether it was really yielding more accurate results or not. And then came the Hygis formula, which introduced 3 independent constants, that is A0, A1, and A2, which were optimized via linear regression to increase the prediction accuracy. It was found by Melz et al. That the Hygis formula would give a good prediction error for a longer, wider range of axial lengths and AC depths. But in this study, it was found that 0.125 diopters was the prediction error, but there was a hyperopic error when it went to the ends of the spectrum. So the Barrett Universal 2 is found to be one of the most popular and accurate IOL formulas in use today. It has 5 variables, more accurate due to the incorporation of the principal plane of the IOL into the formula, which is a relevant variable. And why it's called universal is because it covers it maintains an accuracy across a wider range of eggshell lengths and ACDs, which has been found in various studies. Now, the Barrett Universal 2 is found on the ASCRS.org website, which can be very easily used. And of course, it is incorporated in the newer optical biometers, like what Dr. Gaurav said. Now, if you take an example here, this is a patient where we have used the SRKT formula. The eggshell length is less than 22, and you get a power for your IQ lens to be around 27.5. When you do an immersion, you find that it is 27. Now, yes, 80% of the time you would be accurate, but all these things, the newer advances are so that we can go higher in our percentages of accuracy to at least 90 to 95%. And that is why then these kind of formulas do come into play, and we can feed in these parameters into the ASCRS Barrett 2 formula, and you can even feed in the lens thickness and white to white. Now, mind you, on the IOL Master 500, you don't get the lens thickness. Neither is the white to white very accurate. So this needs to come from another machine. And here you get 27.5. So when you compare more formulas, you get a better prediction accuracy. Even the Barrett Toric is available, which will give a good accuracy rate. Now, there are other technologies like the ray tracing and the artificial intelligence. The Olsen formula uses the ray tracing, wherein it takes into consideration the lens thickness and the preoperative anterior chamber depth, as opposed to the earlier formulas, which would take in the corneal height or the corneal diameter. Now, the Olsen formula has the C constant, which is mathematically relates to the center of the IOL to the preoperative ACD. The lens constant does not take care of the eggshell length and corneal power, but instead the lens thickness and the dimension of the anterior chamber. And it is the ray tracing formula is advantageous because it considers the asphericities and other aberrations of the cornea. The artificial intelligence formula, that is a Hill RBF, it and the regression analysis of a very large database. So it covers a wider range of eggshell lengths and corneal powers. And you can put it again in the ASCRS.org website, and you put in your key in your data, and you get something like this. If you can see here, RBF calculation is out of bounds. Out of bound means that at present the AI database doesn't have enough data paralleling your specific case to support the calculation to 90% accuracy. So version 2 and 3 have come in, which are more, so the out of bounds goes into in bounds when the versions get higher. So these are some of the studies which are, and the Kane formula, which is above, it's a added advantage. The EVO, there have been studies which find that Kane's is 72% more accurate. And then we also have an Indian study in the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, where it is compared on the LensStar, and it is seen that there is no statistical difference between all these newer formulas. Can I take a minute more, Nikhil?
Sure, ma'am. Go ahead.
So, as far as the IOL formulas go, we find that the anterior corneal surface is measured, the posterior surface is extrapolated to a ratio of 0.8, and that is where we can go wrong. And that's why going away, and in special situations like corneal ectasias, post LVC, pediatric cataracts, you cannot use these formulas wherein the corneal power is the main parameter. So on an average, I would say that when we have the option of achieving 90% of 0.5 diopters of accuracy, I think we should go in for it. And the take-home message is we need to incorporate newer formulas to be able to get to those accuracies. And IOL Master 500 does not calculate lens thickness, and that's why we need to go to better machines probably. Thank you very much.